So we remember Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton declares his wife declares his wife as an impassioned change maker. We all know the story of William Jefferson Clinton, one of the famous heads of states of the United States of America. I believe one of the youngest, he was 43 or something like that, 46, 47, something like that when he became president. I can't remember, but he's in the 40s. So was Barack Obama anyway. Now you see that all those very successful young presidents, John Kennedy, we remember John Kennedy and Jacqueline Kennedy. Remember Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. Remember Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. The role that the women played in their lives was significant. We should be thinking in Ghana about more politicians, especially the younger ones and the middle-aged ones, who are showing off a wife who has the strength, the temerity, the capacity to be able to support their politics. That's going to help. And you see, historically, those presidents have been very successful. John Kennedy, still one of the most eulogized heads of states of America. He ruled America only for 2 years, 2.5, something like that. But the way he rode the campaign, the way his wife was in the campaign, and the way Jacqueline supported John Kennedy's presidency and politics was an admiration for all Americans. Americans didn't get that until Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton came and did the same thing and gave such massive support to her husband so that Clinton became a successful American president at a very early age. Look at Barack Obama. He did the impossible in America. He was a black man married to a black woman. His father is from Kenya. His wife is African-American. And it was impossible to bounce the White House with that kind of description. But Barack Obama was successful. He broke the iron chain. Barack Obama broke the iron chain globally. He could pull crowds of 100,000, 200,000 before he was elected president of America. During the campaign of Obama, he would go to Germany and he would pull 500,000 people on the street to come and listen to Barack Obama, who was not yet the president of America. And then as people looked at the Barack Obama story, they found the unmistakable feature of Michelle Obama. That's a great story. That's a leader that you should elect. Now, if you look on my touch screen now, you see this woman. And there's a dance, I don't know, there's a dance between herself and her husband, the new president of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu Ahmed. Now in 2023, this is the Daily Trust says, Tinubu's wife takes campaign to Northeast. Now, she was running the campaign of Bola Tinubu so much that she got a headline about she taking the campaign to Northeast. So as this campaign is going to start, there's going to be parliamentary campaigns, there's going to be presidential campaigns, there's going to be all of that. I will be looking at those men who can show the support, the interest, the capacity of the women with them who are running the campaign. And when that happens, we shouldn't run them down, should we? Michelle Obama is here. Michelle Obama campaigns for her husband. Michelle Obama said on Monday that although her husband can electrify a crowd with his speeches, the Democratic presidential contender won't be perfect as the campaign drags on. This is Michelle Obama cautioning people that, yes, Barack is great, but he's not a perfect man. He will make mistakes. Now, that's what the women bring. The women bring the checklist, the checks and balances. That's what the women bring. They bring the stability to campaign. If you look at Dr. Bawunia, you will not be surprised when you see Samira. You know that this is a couple who are in it together, and this is Samira who is bringing the wisdom of women, the style of women, the measure of women onto the campaign to make it happen. Without the women, it will not happen. Back in the days of Kwame Nkrumah, now let's get to what Nkrumah did. Let's have the Nkrumah story. Back in the days of Kwame Nkrumah, he noticed that very, very early. You know that Nkrumah was a visionary as a first president. This is what happened. So this is the story. Before 1960, there were no female members of parliament because parliament in Ghana had started in 1951. Well, actually, parliament in Ghana started a long time ago under the Clifford Constitution of 1916. Under the Clifford Constitution of 1916, parliament in Ghana had started. So there was a legislative council which was not elected under the Clifford Constitution of 1916. Then came the Gettysburg Constitution of 1924. There too, there were elected legislative members, including Kesley for Dr. Dankwa and others. Then came the Alan Burns Constitution of 1948. There too, there were legislative assembly members, unelected, partially elected, some of the chiefs, no women. And then came the 1951 election, which was ballot box election, where majority of the members of the assembly were elected. No woman. The parliament at that time was 102, 1951. 0 women. Then there was 1954 election, the one that Bafo Osakoto famously gained popularity as a politician. That one too was a parliamentary election. No women. And then in 1956, ahead of independence, another election occurred. Parliamentary election, 120 people were elected across the country. No women. So Nkrumah got concerned because he came from America. He understood the value, the power, and the critical role women play. So this is what happened. He said, Before 1960, there were no female members of parliament. Therefore, there was the introduction of the Representation of the People's Amendment Bill, which reserved 10 slots in parliament for women. Nkrumah also established the National Council for Women, which was responsible for advancing the cause of women in Ghana. Now, these are some of the women. Mabel Dove Dankwa Mabel was one of the greatest writers of all time. If you go to the graphic, you probably will find some of her articles. She wrote so well. She was such a prolific writer, and she was such an intelligent woman. She was one of those who came into parliament as a result of Nkrumah's positive action. Then there's Susan Oforiatta, whose photograph is a bit blurred, but of course, Susan Oforiatta was also one of the great women. She chalked the first in many things. I think she was the first Ghanaian pilot, something like that. Susan Oforiatta over there. She was one of those who benefited from the Nkrumah situation. Then there was Sophia Duku, whose photograph we don't have. And there was Letitia Kwe as well, whose photograph we don't have. There was Ama Nkrumah. I'm not sure whether she was related to Nkrumah, but she was also there in the parliament. There was Gloria Monikwe, who was also there. These were great women. And Ghana became greater because of some of these women. It was totally amazing. It was a lot of great women. And then here is now Dede Ashikisha is my favorite. Dede Ashikisha is my favorite. Now, she was a businesswoman, and she was one of those who gave the CPP the bandwagon. They gave the CPP the band. They were Nkrumah's people. They gave the CPP the bandwagon. They campaigned so hard. The CPP was almost unassailable up until 1964 or so. So this is the history of what Dr. Nkrumah did. And that's where we have come from. Women, Susan Alasan, Nancy Chibu, and all of those people came out of that. And then on there to the 70s, when the women led. I mean, one of the sorry points about our history is how women were flogged in 1979. The reason why the soldiers and some of the people were concerned was that the women had taken the economic power, and that's why Ghana was successful. In the early 70s, the women were working in the markets. Makola markets became one of the big economic centers in West Africa. People in Nigeria knew about Makola market. People in Sierra Leone knew about Makola market because the empowerment of the women in 1960 continued throughout the 70s, and they were well empowered. In 1979, somehow, the people went to the market and they whipped them and exposed them and embarrassed them. I believe that's where the problem started. But that problem was overcome. By the time Liman became president, women came back into the action, and then the PNDC gave us Joyce Aye, Mrs. Anna Enin, Mrs. Emma Mitchell. These are great celebrated women who adorn the screens of our television sets every day and encourage young women of my generation. You saw Joyce Aye, they saw Mrs. Anna Enin, Mrs. Emma Mitchell. They saw all of them. And here you are, some of the women in the video cheering on the politics. This is the Akosombo Dam opening, and I'm suspecting that the woman holding the flag is Dede Ashikisha. I think it is her. That looks like Dede Ashikisha standing by Kwame Nkrumah holding the flag. Roll the video on and let our people see. I think it's Dede Ashikisha. Dede Ashikisha died tragically in the Volta region, the regional capital of Ho, way back when Nkrumah was still alive. This is the role the women were playing, even with Akosombo Dam. So that's the power of women. That's the power of women. And so we are saying that if a woman campaigns now and she says something, this issue about we are going into politics and you say, oh, she's ashawo, I think it's so horrible, it's so bad that you have to be mad to be able to say that. You have to be out of your mind to respond to a woman's political campaign by saying that she's ashawo. What does that even mean? Men are not ashawo, but woman is ashawo. I don't understand that. I mean, there has to be something wrong with you. That as a man, able-bodied man, a woman is having a political discourse with you, and your response to the political discourse is that she's ashawo. I'll come and show you how many men she has slept with. What should we do with that? But why is it always a way for people to go? I think it's a way for very weak minds, very, very weak brain, very, very weak men, fragile men who are fragile in spirit, fragile in heart, fragile in mind. You see, a lot of the men who shout, they are very fragile. And some people agree with me. Those of you who are counselors, you know that. A lot of the men who shout, I'll do that. No, they are very fragile. They will break down and cry right now. That's how they are. A lot of those men who shout, they will break down and cry. And it is those men who have weak spirit, weak mind, weak temerity. They are the people that when they have a conversation with a woman, they go and say that, hey, she's a shower, I'll show you the men you've slept with. And some of even go as far as saying that, you wanted me, I didn't want you. All kinds of arguments. I don't see that happening in politics elsewhere. Maybe it's happening, but in Ghana, it's beginning to occur. It didn't used to be, because we are still talking about Nana Akunedo-Agyeman Rawlings doing her work so hard and so well. It didn't used to be. But it appears that it's coming. And I'm using this platform and appealing to you viewers that let's keep an eye on this as the election runs. Let's keep an eye on this. As we go into this election, let's really keep an eye on this. And bring me back Samira's picture. Bring me back Samira's photograph. And let's build this. We'll come back with this analysis. When the full results of parliamentary seats are published, we're going to be following keenly those seats that are going to be contested by women. And we're going to check what their male opponents are going to say about them. And we're going to come here and name them and shame them. So if you know that you are preparing campaign to be calling women who are contesting with you ashawo, get ready. You will have to contend with us at Good Evening Ghana because we are not going to allow that. We're going to play your video. We're going to shame you. We're going to talk about how unintelligent you are. We're going to talk about how weak you are. We're going to talk about how not useful you are to the society, how unuseful you are to the society, how unuseful you are to the campaign because you are competing with a woman. She's telling you about projects. She's telling you about what the government or the opposition will do, and all you have to say is that she is ashawo. What is that? What is the meaning of she's ashawo? When a man talks, you don't call him he's ashawo. But when a woman says, oh, it's ashawo, you can say it's ashawo, no problem. But when you say she's ashawo, we will come here and show that you're a weak mind. You don't have much in your head. You don't have much to say. You don't have anything to offer the people you are campaigning to. Because if you have something to offer the people you are campaigning to, you will not be directing invectives at the woman and call her ashawo merely because she's competing with you. That must stop. That thing, it must stop. Because we are a developing country and we have a lot of young people. 1.2 million people have been educated at free SHS. They will not accept that. Adults in this country must demonstrate clear leadership, clear consensual leadership, leadership that is coming out of a philosophy. The leadership and the narrative of a leader that is coming out of a philosophy. Not one who just comes and says, oh, what did she say? Oh, she's ashawo. No, deal with it. If you are MPP and Hannah Bisiu is challenging you for something, please don't call her ashawo. Deal with what she's saying. If you are NDC and when Samira Bawunia hits the campaign trail and she's doing the things she does, she's churning out a narrative, she's philosophizing about what her husband has done or what the MPP has done, you may respond. Please respond. By all means, respond. But if you call her ashawo as your response, we will come here, name you, and shame you. I am hoping that other media houses will take up this challenge in this election, that if people come and call a woman ashawo, we will deal with it. I will say it, people must say it, everyone must say it, and then we'll have a clean society where the women have the freedom to come out and campaign. Look at what has happened to women like Esla Owusu. Catherine Afiku came here the other day. She was explaining to us what has happened to her. So we are going to follow the parliament. 275 contests in parliament. We're going to follow it. Those of you men and even women, some women also do it. Some women do it to another woman. Oh, she's not married. She's ashawo. Even if you are married, you're ashawo. No Ghanaian said that about Nana Akufo-Addo. So she had the freedom and liberty to change things. Look at the impact of what she's done with 31st in those days. So our sermon is not long. Our sermon is simple.